Well, Saudi Arabia's push for deeper defence cooperation with the United States follows a series of challenges to its security. Asad Baig reports now on what the new arrangements could look like and how far Washington may be willing to go.
Saudi Arabia's push for new US defence guarantees began after a major shock to its security. In 2019, coordinated drone and missile attacks struck the Abqaiq and Khurais oil facilities, briefly halving the country's oil production. Yemen's Houthi movement claimed responsibility, but Saudi Arabia, the United States and European governments said the attack was consistent with Iranian-made systems and likely planned or launched by Iran. Tehran denied involvement. For Riyadh, the incident exposed the scale of the missile and drone threat it faces and raised questions about whether the US would intervene or retaliate on its behalf. Now Saudi Arabia's request for the US-made F-35, one of the most advanced fighter jets in the world, seems to have been accepted.
No, I am planning on doing that, yeah. They want to buy it. They've been a great ally. They've got to like us very much. Look at the Iran situation, what we did in terms of obliterating, we obliterated their nuclear capability. Yeah, I will say that we will be doing that. We'll be selling F-35s, yeah.
Stealth technology, integrated sensors and long-range precision weapons, making it central to US air power. And until now, Israel remains the only Middle East country clear to operate the jet under Washington's commitment to preserve Israel's so-called qualitative military edge.
It's really such an advanced piece of warfare machinery. It's the apex predator right now in air defense and in air offense. And it has tremendous new technologies that are not seen anywhere else in the world. Russia and China are trying to catch up right now. And so the United States is very sensitive to letting that technology out there because as soon as it's out there, it's a lot easier to be copied.
Saudi Arabia is also seeking clearer US security commitments. It has watched neighboring Qatar deepen its defense relationship with Washington, including an agreement that treats threats against Qatar as threats to US interests. Riyadh wants a similar arrangement, especially against regional missile and drone capabilities. These are areas Washington is open to strengthening without altering the region's military balance. Radar integration, missile and drone defense, intelligence sharing, and joint training. But providing F-35s or stronger defense guarantees would mark a significant shift in US policy and remains politically sensitive in Washington.
The security guarantees that Washington is ready to provide to Saudi Arabia will be about the same what is given to Qatar. And this means an executive order by the president. Be aware, these are not as hard guarantees like a contract, like a treaty approved by Congress. And this also means such an executive order can be changed by the next president in a minute.
As Saudi Arabia modernizes its military under Vision 2030, it sees deeper US partnership as essential. But the United States must balance those requests with its wider strategic commitments across the region. Asad Baig, Al Jazeera.
Well, for more on all of this, we're joined now by Dr.Abdulaziz Sager, who is the chairman of the Gulf Research Centre, specialising in international politics and regional security. He joins us from Riyadh. Thanks so much for being with us here on Al Jazeera. We've already heard that Donald Trump is going to sell F-35s to Saudi Arabia. Can you just give us an idea, though, just how significant that is, not just for the defence and the security of the country, because it is incredibly advanced technology, but what it actually says about the relationship between the two countries right now?
Well, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you today. The F-35 request from Saudi Arabia, it's almost 6 years ago. So this is not a new requirement. Saudi Arabia wanted to replace their old Tornado by the latest and the modest fifth generation of the Air Force jet, which is the F-35. Now, we do understand that there are different versions on the F-35. The Israeli have one, the US keep one other one. The Canadian also have another one, plus the other version for export. But Saudi Arabia have determined the type that they want to have and the advanced radar and the advanced weapon system they needed to have on this type of aircraft. At the same time, we understand that this may take some time, but there are other issues, of course, that Saudi is going to sign with the U.S. Almost 14 defense company in an amount of $140 billion agreement between the Saudi and the defense supplier. At the same time, it shows when President Trump said yesterday, yes, we're going to approve, we're going to sell. I think it shows the trust and the confidence between the two leaders that made him comfortable to say that.
Okay.
There are many details, of course, but we have to wait and see what is the outcome of such a discussion and what sort of type of F-35
Yes.
will be presented to the Saudi.
Yeah, we'll hopefully get a little bit more information in the coming hours when we hear them speak after they meet. There's also a lot of other things that Saudi Arabia is pushing for, artificial intelligence, nuclear power infrastructure investment within the country. I mean, how confident are you that Mohammed bin Salman is actually going to be able to achieve all of these things? It is quite a long list.
Well, Saudi Arabia is trying to build a data center in partnership with the large American companies. That data center and artificial intelligence needs lots of power. To have a reliable power to operate the data center, you need a reliable source of energy, and nuclear, of course, the smart, small, medium reactor is the best source for that one. And definitely the US, they do have that. The point was before discussed during the visit of President Trump, the US are interested that Saudi should sign the 123 agreement, which is the zero enrichment, of course. But the Saudi said we are a signatory to NPT, Non-Proliferation Treaty, and we don't need to sign such a thing. I think this is where the compromise will take place, whether the US will agree, because the small reactor, we have it from Argentina for the research purpose at the King Abdulaziz City for science and technology. But here we're talking about a larger power supply. This is why the SMART is called small medium reactor, that to supply electricity for the data center if they are built.
Right.
The other level, of course, which UAE have been able to obtain from Korea with an approval and license from the US, is the larger part which is used for electricity and water desalination. Now we have to see how is the outcome of such a negotiation on these issues. But in terms of investment, Saudi have stated they will invest $600 billion in the different area, which include AI, logistic, some defense, petrochemical, energy, area.
I understand in the past that you've talked about Mohammed bin Salman's symbolic capital to get deals like this done. Can you just explain exactly what you mean by that?
What is that, sir?
The symbolic capital. You've talked about Mohammed bin Salman's symbolic capital, his ability to get deals like this across the line. How significant is that?
I think the trust is there between the two, and the determination from President Trump to have a proper stand with Saudi Arabia. And it's an equal interest. We're not asking for something that we don't feel, we need it. At the same time, the US is a beneficiary also of that. So we just have to see how that goes.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Abdulaziz. We do appreciate your time and your thoughts. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Thank you so much.